Good, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Again, we are live. Uh, Facebook. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube, and want again welcome you to this special our community engagement. And our topic today, we're going to be discussing about what I some of those key issues in dealing with survival. What are some of the things we need to know as a survivor? So, turning and I want to welcome all of us again. We know that the community engagement global mission is about engaging communities and organization, partnering with other organizations to bring you information on human rights, and we talk about rights and responsibilities. Today, we actually, as part of against domestic violence, we are here to share some very important points that are important to survival. Survival probably in domestic violence or abuse. So if you are one of those who have survived domestic violence and you want to get some tips, okay, about abusers, probably survival, you can follow us on YouTube. We're going to be giving you the link next week. So those of us who want to get details and maybe go more in depth into the teaching on survival after domestic violence or abuse. So again, I want to thank God for this opportunity given to us as we spread the message of this campaign. I want to welcome you, those of us wherever you are, as you follow. Every year we this is our the pattern. Okay, last week we when we launched it on the 13, we had guests, and we're going to be again closing up. Probably if you are out there and you can see the number, well, the number to call, you can call to probably you can join us. I might be sending link to people who are free could join us to give their own probably um, support when it comes to what we are discussing today. Very important, very interesting. So again, followed us. This is a kind of very interesting topic. There are people out there who are survival abuse situation, and normally when you are abused or you are recovering from abuse, there are some things that you need to know, which is what we're going to be discussing here today. I'm very much concerned about these topics, and the the community engagement is not just about domestic violence. Is a human right based organization that focus on teaching human rights and responsibilities. We believe that rights is something that everyone is entitled to, but they are also responsible for the actions they take, because choices are less than consequences. So we are here today as a result of not only the campaign, but as a result of our goal. Our thinking today, we have three goals in mind for our audience and our Facebook followers. So you can follow us and probably join us if you feel like calling. You are welcome. You can call 609 960 232 and then 71. You can also use that number for WhatsApp, and then you can call probably if you wish to call to make your presence felt. Maybe you have some contribution to the show. If you don't have time to call, well, we can do that next time because we're going to be actually doing this as we go through the campaign from now to the end of the month. So again, you're welcome. Follow us on Facebook, wherever you are watching. If you are on YouTube, I want to welcome you, and I say to you that probably you might be going through some uh, issues of abuse, and probably you are not a survivor, but these are very important issues that the world faces today when it comes to abuse, domestic violence. So if you look at the fact that many people go through domestic violence, and well, not all of them, if not all of them, will come up successfully or probably survive. Some of them remain in the situation, and well, it was so bad and they could not survive. So it's very important to understand these 7 steps, the healing from domestic violence. When you look at the word domestic violence, what comes to your mind is probably the bruises, or probably the way the person looked like, or they were beaten, they were punched. There are a lot of things come to our mind. You can see the eyeball or the swelling over the eye and different sign. Okay, but there are different different 5 different types of different way people would describe uh, violence. It could be verbal, it could be psychological. But today we are delving into the most important thing is the survival. What actually survivor need to know, okay, when it comes to domestic violence. It means that survival, people who survive domestic violence, people who survive abuse, what do you expect to know? What you need to know? One of the things that I going to be talking about, I'll lay emphasis on uh, as I go about this particular life is about rights and responsibilities. So there's a right, yes, but your responsibility, the way you respond to something, the way you look at the situation and your action. Probably you might see it to be good. Some of us embrace it and we say, "Oh, yeah, I don't have time." Don't tell me that. People don't like the education. People don't like probably to get the information they need in order for them to be able to just to free themselves from their abuser, but to also have other people aware that there can be solution to the problem. So the first thing we will look at what we are discussing today in the healing process is safety first. So after survival, or the person goes through a trauma, a time period of domestic violence or probably abuse, and after the abuse, the first thing is safety. The healing process begins when the victim of abuse is finally away from their abuser. So, so how can you start the healing process? What are some of the things you need to know as an abuser? Now, we're not going much because this is something that we introduce into you in order for you to get a tip. And if you want more detail, you can our consultancy, and then we can talk about it. It entails a lot, not a lot, but then it entails a lot of things to do in order to make you to understand your role as a survivor and what you need to do. So the safety part of it, as we say, the first thing is safety. So what is it? You considering yourself to be other the abuser or away from the abuser, to understand some steps. That is, unfortunately, this step meaning planning and preparation before it can become a reality. Now, it depends on your reaction. It depends on probably the way you are responding after you have been survived or after you survive uh, a situation you find yourself. So safety is very important. Why safety is important is because you come from, you're looking at where you come from, where you're going. First step is safety. So consider the fact that you came from an abusive situation and you need to be in a safe place. The perpetrator or your abuser could be still going after you. So safety means the victim is physically away from from their attacker and can sleep without fear. So it means that, well, where you're going to be, your abuser might not get to know, especially earlier, because they might still want to get at you because you remember that the power and control will, well, they do that to control you. So they want you to be under the command. So they are not getting tired with you. Okay, so as you leave your home, okay, and probably you are trying to get other, or you left your home or you left the place, probably you were rescued. So you must have a safety net. Security is the most important thing. So whether the person know where you are, or people who are connected to them, are friends with you, those are things you take into consideration, because now remember that you will honor your abuser. So they control you that time. They stay want to control you. They are not getting tired with you. So, but you left. So you must find safety. Some of the safety measures you need to understand is, who are you going to? Where are you going? Consider that this person who is an abuser and you become a survivor. The safety net or where you are going is very important. The reason is because you have left a place where you are on that kind of situation. You're going through trauma. So you are living and you are found safety. So how can you determine the word safe? If you enter another relationship, or probably some of you guys will feel like need to get into another relationship, or while you're escaping a kind of abuser, maybe you found an opportunity, according to you, that this person met you on the way while you were hide, and then you were vulnerable. So then they take advantage of that and then talk you over. You not knowing this person, but you are in an abuse situation, and maybe the person you go that found or that you found because of the thing you are going through might be the worst person. So safety comes first. There's no need to be in haste. So we find ourselves into an abuse relationship. We're trying to leave and we get up there. The first thing is safety. So do we know we are safe? We know we are safe once we get up there and find the right people that will help us in the healing process. So that is the first thing, safety. So you build these tips, safety. We're gonna deal more with that on our teaching time and in our consultation with people who have survived as a survivor and abuse coach. This is something that is very important. And many people go through abuse every day, every minute. And so when you survive, your safety comes first. There's no time to be hasty. That means you want to get in the hands of another guy or another only because, well, you find yourself into an abuse situation and now you are rescued or you left. But your leaving should not be another opportunity that you think you are fine. It could be in a trafficking situation because people take advantage of people who are trafficked, who are abused, to traffic them. Now we're going to be talking more about the economic abuse, because that is a kind of massive abuse that comes into a nation that affect many people. Leaves probably to go to Dubai, to go to other places, because why? Because of the economic constraint. That is an abuse. Economic abuse is very terrible. But as we look at the safety after this for survival after an abuse, the first thing is you got to find a safe place, not to another guy from a house after you have actually survived. Is that a place where you just go, you become vulnerable because you are finding something somewhere, running away from something. So in details, we're going to be dealing with it probably as we talk about it on YouTube. But let's go down to the second one: stabilized environment. Safety comes first. A stabilized environment. The temptation of therapists is to dive into the healing process after victim is dome safe, but doing this before this the stabilization of a new environment can be traumatized. And what do that means? Now, some people go to therapies. What is a new environment? A new environment, we just talk about safety. A new environment may be a person that you want to trust your life with, because you got to be going somewhere. Okay, you got to be going somewhere where that environment might not be environment friendly or human friendly, or a kind of environment that is friendly, that is welcoming. In that environment, maybe it is even more or less dominant than the place you come from. That means abuse go on there frequently. It could be dominated community. So how can you be stabilized in an environment like that? So a stabilized environment also means the person you are going to, okay, if that person is not well grounded and understand where you come from, that is the more important part in a survival life, the environment. So if you but doing this, rather, the victim need a period of rest to adjust to a new normal hmm, step before the therapy's work begins. The length of this necessary step is dictated solid and by the victim and the amount of abuse endured. So when you look at, it's a long-term effect. Probably it's something like maybe he or she went through it for 10, 2, 3 years. It depends on the time you were in that abuse. It depends on not the person and not the word abuse, but it depends on the experience you have. So because you're going through trauma and you need an environment to rest, not to just start thinking about some things. Before you go through the therapies, you need an environment where you can rest. Now we see in the Western world, people go into therapy. They call it therapies, right? You go to take some exercise, or you go to places that you need to go in order to help to heal your wound. But again, it also helps people and affect people to get something called mental illness. That is a different topic. But as we delve into this survival, a lot of people are involved today and they still not recover. Let's agree that, well, your husband or wife abuse you, and you decided to just leave the place or leave her, or you separate, but your separation is, it may be depending on the person you saw on the bus or somebody you saw on Facebook, and you guys started chat. So you find your way out thinking that that was and is the solution. So in order a survivor, somebody who survived or want to survive an abuse, marriage, or whatever relationship you find yourself, your safety comes first. The environment that you go to be, it comes second. So no matter how many person that have maybe that you come in contact with, and you're trying to look at your physical condition, because it also add onto your self-esteem, and the way you're insecure, you don't trust anybody. But this time, because you are, I call it monkey jam, that means you really need to be out of the place. You don't want to be there anymore, and so you just got best. So you didn't find the right environment. After you sought for safety, your safety net was not actually a place. I mean, you didn't find a safe haven, a safe place. The environment you find is not stabilized. So it must be stabilized. So after surviving an abuse situation, you must look at your security. You must look at a stabilized environment. That is this kind of place you need to be as a survivor. So the third thing is support unconditionally. If you watch most of the situation when it comes to survival, support conditionally, which means there are people that, well, they will come in life, probably it's not unconditional. They're not going to love you unconditionally. They're not going to carry you unconditionally. So you need an unconditional relationship, or people, relatives, friends, brothers and sisters. That means they will be able to bear with you because you go through trauma. Remember that you're coming from an abuse situation. And so you will need support unconditionally. That means, well, whether you would buy, whether you would go, won't you, they will understand that you came from the trauma. Now, that support will be the most important person in your life. Could be your best friend, maybe the next best friend, because you're coming from an abuse relationship. So let's agree that you came out and you got in contact with a guy, you got chatted on Facebook, and the guy got money, or probably that's what you've been looking for because you've been in a abuse relationship, your time has been wasted. So now you are hasty. You're there on Facebook and looking for that kind of relationship because, well, you think in your mind that your time has been wasted. So you got this person, you chatted, and you forgot about your safety, you forgot about the environment, okay, and you're not looking for the unconditional support. So the third thing is unconditional support. Support unconditionally. So but this person, or you don't know them, let's agree that you just got to know them. So as a survivor, you don't just make a choice. If there's a lot of referral, like we're going to be talking more about it in our next in this next week meetings. There are a lot of prefer, okay, call 911. There will be direction. It will give you numbers. There are some organization people don't have named where they have their offices, or probably on Facebook sometime. But like those of us who are connected to some of them, who say, okay, you can call this person, or this person will call you, and then they will start to direct you to get somewhere for your own safety. That's the first thing. If you're looking for safety, don't rush. Look for a safe place, a safe home to rehabilitate your mind. So you might have groups, okay, let's say between you and the therapist and two close friends. Maybe you have a close friends, uh, and those close friends are people who will love you unconditionally, people who will continue to bear with you. I'm talking about not intimate friendship. I'm talking about friends who could be your girlfriend as a female, and then, well, they will love you unconditionally. Now that is the third thing, to support you, not necessarily mean money alone. No. So when you look at the unconditional love, or even when you talk about how much you miss your abuser, okay, they are able to talk to you in a way that you're not going to feel bad, because you will still miss your abuser. There are some ways that you guys, well, even though you're abused, but there was something that you like about your abuser. So probably when you talk about your abuser, it is probably the season, the time, that whether it's a relative, whether it's a friend, whether it's a sister or brother, they take that time to encourage you, and not to to confront you in a way that you're gonna feel bad or hide. Unconditional, because you talk about your ex, you talk about your abuser, you're gonna say some good things about this person, he he or her. So why? Because there's something about it. Why it is true that you're not going back there, and it will again draw your attention to how to go forward. Now, so the people that you have around you, that will be your supporter, to support you unconditionally, support you in prayer, support you in, well, in guiding you, in giving you words, and so that it can try to help you to recover. So if it is an intimate relationship you are getting into after your surviving period, listen to this. Probably you came from a situation, and you are a Muslim, and you want to marry to a Christian, or you want to marry to a Muslim, you're a Christian. And, that kind of situation. You gotta understand who you getting into, and who you getting actually closer to during this time for support. Now, you can be doing all the therapies, all the guys here doing therapy. You can see people going to do therapy. Oh, I'm going to do my therapies. I got some problem. But the best therapist after survival is your intimate relationship, or the person, the friends you got around you. Because you can be doing the therapies, you go into the therapist, probably the place you're going to do your therapy, whatever hospital, whatever clinic, or probably a kind of gym, or whatever you choose to go to do it, or at home. The person that you have with, all the place, the environment, maybe it is a safe home. In that safe home, the people that are there must be positive thinkers, must be people who have the skill to understand that you're coming from a traumatic situation, and you need to be healed. So if they can't grab that, you might be slipping away and doing things that, well, going away from the reality, and then you might be thinking about your abuser. And if you're not careful, you want to go back, because the place you find yourself, people don't love you. you unconditionally. So it will almost be the same. So one of the family members or became so will be so frustrated sometime or frustrate you sometime. It could be your sister, because why? You're thinking about your abuser. Instead of them encouraging you, they might frustrate you. So in that kind of relationship, in that kind of situation, what can you do? So what do you need as a survivor? It's not that kind of person around you. So support unconditionally will mean that if an intimacy, that means if that a friend that you really think that could help you, you need a friend that will love you unconditionally as a survivor. A friend that, well, you might be a visionary, might have some skill in you, and your dream have been put down for the past years. You've been going through your abuse. So the person next to the one that you are going to meet should be the person that are going to encourage you unconditionally, whatever the case may be. That is the best piece, because you can go do all the therapies. When you come back home, you meet up with this person, there's a different situation. You come back home, you meet up with the people that in the shelter home or the people that are supposed to be encouraging you, they are discouraging you. So that's the third thing, support unconditionally. That's what you need as a survivor. The fourth thing is share experiences. Okay, one of the most helpful steps to recovery from abuse is to find a support group with others victims of abuse. They are victims of abuse, and you find support group, and your support group is not going to be people who don't have experience. Even though probably some don't have the experience, also we may have few people who understand uh, your language. So they will understand your situation, you explain, you guys talk together, the experience, they give you their experience. Now it allows a person to realize that they are not alone in their abusive encounter. So those women or your friends who are recovered, and probably some of them are successful on their journey. So that support team will help you on the way. It will help motivate you that if they too can recover from there, maybe they explain their story. It could be more dangerous or fearful than yours. So then that support group with their stories, with their many stories, and the life you see them live now after recovering, it will also help motivate you. That is the fourth thing. It's very important. So after you need to support unconditionally. The third thing, the fourth thing is share experiences, but with support groups, not just people who have not gone through abuse. They don't know, they have not tested it, they don't know what it means to be hurt, and they don't have any success story because they did not go through abuse. So during this month of massive awareness on against domestic violence, as we begin to take these tips, those of us who are going through it and have not recovered, we are seeing as a survival things that you need to know is to share your experience with a group that have actually over, overcome their situation. So you can be a victim probably, and you go and get into, or probably you're a survivor. You got into the hands of people who don't even understand what it means to be abused. So they know how to treat you. They know what to say to you. They gave you their story. They tell you their story. You share your story. So the support group will give you additional people that you could learn or lean on, who understood from their own experienced what was going, or what you were going through, or what you will be going through, or what you went through, because they experienced it. So sharing your experience will also help you to understand their experience is greater than your experience. The fact that their experience is greater than your experience will help you to understand that you too can overcome. It's almost like somebody telling you, I used to eat gari to go to school. I walk to school 1 hour to school every day. I come back home, no food. I got to go sell. But then they're telling you their success story. How now they are in college, or they're getting a master, or they are minister, or what they are in currently, and you're looking at your condition, and you explain your story. So you learn from them, and as a result of the motivation of their story, it's going to heal you from the wound, from certain mentality that nothing good can come for all of you, because you came from a few marriage, your time have been wasted. You don't have any hope again. So looking at these different steps, the fourth is share your experience. The fifth is settle accident. Now, this is often the most difficult step from an awareness perspective, as the obvious abuse is recounted. New obstacles, abuse comes to light. Most victims don't even realize this, the extent of the abuse until they reach this step. So you begin to think about how this happened. Oh my God, how this happened? You're going through a traumatic accident. So it become a kind of concentration, a retrospect on where you came from. Why did this guy do this to me, or this person? So you are in a situation now that if you're not careful, you are going to go back to where you come from. So you can now see that mentally, verbally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, and sexually abused, in addition to your physical abuse. Processing this information was hard at first, but it put a nail in the coffin of your hands. How? Because you are going through a process of recovery. And now you're realizing that if it happened to John, you are thinking about it and you are recovering. If you are recovering, so you can't turn back. There's no turning back. You can't go back, because you begin to realize that you went through abuse. You emotionally, you were insulted, probably many times, and you went through a lot. So when you think back, you can return. There's a more difficult and the more crucial and the more important part a survivor can come to. Okay? Settle accidents. It could be, oh, it was an accident that I ever got into the hands of this guy. And you start to retrospect, start thinking about all the things that happened to you, why you're going through, why you're in his life or life. It's a place, it's very terrible. It gave you, in fact, the mind is a battlefield of the devil. Okay, and sometimes, life is in the power of the tongue, and people start to prophesy on their life place, where you got to come to yourself and say, well, speak life into yourself. So that's the 4 things. Very important. So there will be no turning back because you retrospect. You think about where you come from, where you are right now, the people around you, how they encouraging you, your relationship you are in. Well, he giving you the best love that you ever experienced in your life, and that is the recovery part of it. Unconditional love. So that's what you need as a survivor. So when you make the mistake and get into the hands of another abuser, we can see people going through mental illness, and we just think it just happened. That is, your mind is sick, and it got too much thing on your mind that you cannot solve. So it gets so terrible. You can see some older person there saying, "Well, I don't think I can make it." They said the guy went to bed last night, and it's a heartbreak. Or the lady went to bed last night, it's a heartbreak. Some of us got pressure already. We went through a time and went through terrible abuse. Got into another abuser. It could be silently, and it's terrible, especially here where you talk about share your experience and support unconditionally. It's very important right here. The third and the fourth. Remember that the partner or the person that you're going to be the next partner, if that person is not compatible, maybe you're visionary, maybe you have your vision, maybe you are a pastor, maybe you are a mother, or probably a prayer warrior, but this person don't even have time when you pray. When you traveling, you don't travel together. He doesn't care about you. He just gave you money, leave your house, and go. But you came from an abused marriage already, or relationship, and you got into something not unconditional. So it could be the best therapies, unconditional love, for you as a survivor. That means that person is prepared to go to extra mile. Okay, I want us to travel to Africa. I want us to travel to my homeland. I want us to go to spend some time up there in the Bronx or somewhere that you feel that will help you to heal. Even if it will not help you, if you're not feeling it, that person will feel it. To say, "Oh, my partner went through this abuse. Also, let me see some of the things that will make her happy now unconditionally," and that person will start to do things that the former person did not do. So then it will be more than the therapies. But let's say you're doing therapies, right? And the therapies you are doing, all the therapies you've been doing, it's not helping you, because when you come back home, you can't see any love. You cannot see no one to share there's no group, there's no referral, there's nothing. You just in the same situation. In fact, maybe it was. So a survival needs support, not unnecessarily on the money, but prayer and the partner or the people that they are going to, the environment that they're going to put themselves in. They need safety. That is very important. So settle your accident. Settle it in your mind. Think about, well, even though I went through this accident, I went through this thing, but I'm not going back. No matter what amount of money, how I feel when we used to be together, maybe you start thinking about some of the good things. Now you forget about the bad thing that almost caused you to be demised. Why? Because we are human. So when you start thinking about those things, and you can overcome your thinking about them. You got to settle your accident. That means that's what it means. Settle your accident. Don't feel returning will be the solution, because well, you find yourself back into another thing. That's why, as a survivor or one who wants to survive, must be looking for these one of these things, not dominantly doing one, but all seven is very important, especially for the settle accident. The reason why this is crucial is because it is at this place where you are thinking that you don't have the money to live alone. You need to be with a spouse or someone that, well, you think you want to be with, even though the person don't want to be with you. But remember that you came from an abused relationship. And that's why, if you do your statistics, we're going to be looking at statistics next week. If you do your statistics, you will get to understand the different group of people who make choices. They are being abused, and they can return to the normal because the choice they made it's far different from a regular abuse. Sometimes they end up committing suicide because society reject them. So your abuser objective and key is to have power over you and control you. The power and control he or she want to have power over you. You don't have your own thought, you don't have your own will. You're like in prison. So when you leave the prison, the thing that you're supposed to do, the thing you're supposed to do in order to recover more, these are the 7 more important things for survivor to know. So if you think in your accident, thoughts saturated in your mind, oh, yes, I was in an abusive relationship. I was there for 5 years. I went through a lot. Should I go back again? So that is the very crucial place. And I can tell you some people who don't understand, they go back into those situations. Sometimes they don't come back. So a very important settle accident. So when you're able to settle the accident, you're able to settle the matter when it comes to the issues that you went through, then you have peace in your mind. To return is going to be difficult. Okay, so again, it's very important. I know the time there in Liberia is 11 o'clock and going to 12 o'clock. I understand that. But here is this. Those of us who are listening, wherever you are, on Facebook, on YouTube, or on the community engagement page, take this serious. Take this 7 step. The 6th one is touch wounds. Touch wounds. In order to touch the wounds for an abuser, you need to rewrite your eternal dialogue of what happened in the past, and you would minimize your contribution to an accident and take excessive responsibility for that person who did it. In other words, look at yourself and feel that, well, I gave myself, that's why she did it, that's why he did it. I'm not going to give myself again. He's not going to see me anymore in his life. in her life, to treat me the way she treats me, to treat me the way he treats me. Another person up there is looking for me. So you start encouraging yourself. So as time progressed, you begin to take pride in your skills as evidence of your strength, determination of the way forward. Because now you feel you're determined to go forward, you're determined to change, you're determined now because you can see that you have survived. And the people you have around you is supporting you, is encouraging you. Paying your rent, probably you have some different institutions, one paying your rent, one giving you food. You're going for counseling class with your pastor, or probably your group meet every time, play some fun, have some party, and make you to laugh, and you are drawing yourself from there. Or your relationship intimately you got into is overwhelmingly have taken you to the place now you can really think that you were ever in an abusive relationship unconditionally. So, but if you don't understand it and you get into something hastily because you went through an abuse situation, you might have yourself to blame. So that is the sixth. The seventh thing is set standards, and that is one of the more important things as I conclude tonight. That is survival need to do. Okay, so the final step towards this healing was to set new standards for how you expect it to be treated. Set standards. By the time you see problem, maybe you're talking to people, you're praying about your life, you're praying to get into relationship because you're thinking about where you come from. There are a lot of things you are healing in a healing process. So not that you're testing them, but because of your experience, you are set standard for your life that probably every time you meet people, you say, look, this is what I believe. I'm not going to go to bed with you, or I'm not going to do this until you do that. Or until I see this. Not even you do that, but until I can see this. That's something I want to see. Or probably sometimes your standard becomes silent. You're not telling them mostly because you want to see something in them. You want to see how to treat you. But the most standard that is going to understand is that I'm not going to go to bed with you. Or maybe I'm not going to do this. Probably we're going to go to bed, but I'm not going to do that. You have certain standard you set. And you're not going to do it because you know what you went through. You don't want to get into any other relationship again because maybe that one will cause you to leave this world. So set standard. Your new standard you are setting, it should be something that you will be guided by. How you expect that person to treat you. So this became the borders of what is acceptable behavior. Anytime a person would violate one of your limitations, you would confront them. You will confront them. So the standard you set in, probably maybe you say, okay, I'm a Christian, I like Christian men, or I like Muslim, I like Muslim lady. You set your standard according to what you believe, your norms. So the standard you set will guard you. So we look at the environment, right? We say, okay, the environment we live. The people you live around, the people that will encourage you to heal your wounds. Very important. So when you don't set standard, people still come around and probably you are a survivor. Remember that. So you as a survivor, you need a support group, right? Now you are in the hands of another person who will massively abuse you. What happens to you? You don't know what the next situation that is going to occur. So set standard, which is very important. The place you live, probably the environment, the people that you make friends with, that you think you can trust with your story. Very important. There are some pastors you can just trust them with your story. They talk too much. There are some friends you can't, because remember that you're going through a healing process, and then somebody you share your story with, you go when the pastor is preaching, you hear the pastor preaching about a similar story. Maybe you share it with a mother. It makes you so bitter. No confidence and self-esteem. You already going through this trauma. So as a survival, you don't need that kind of person. You don't need that kind of church. A church that gossip. Instead of that support group, which is a church, be a motivational congregation that will bring you to the place where you would not even think about where you come from. You see, so there are churches, there are organizations, there are groups that add insults to injury. The person is going through probably a recovery time, trying to recover from the abuser or from an abuse situation. The church should be the healing source, solution. So when you stand in the council of the ungodly as a person who is recovering, if you sit in the seat of the discomfort, people who scoff God, who talk against the kingdom of God, who don't have regard for you as a person, who don't respect the rights of human being, your recovery time, the season that you're going through, will not be a solid one. You will have some setbacks. So during this period, it's a time for you to seek the face of God. Yes, it's a time to practicalize and to come to the place to say, look, I set this standard. I don't want to get around people who I know would not help me to be healed. I can befriend them, I can speak to them, but I don't want to go close. They will always tempt me. Oh man, you're up by your husband. Yeah, why you left your husband for? Your husband left you, because you are this and that. And you're lying on your husband. You're lying. You are the problem. You see that? So if there's a support group that's supposed to be agreeing with you, even though it might seem to be a lie, but agreeing with you not because it is truth or a lie, but agreeing with you because they want to support you, they want to encourage you, and then bring you to the place where you can be healed. Then you're looking back on some of the mistakes you made while you were in your abused marriage or in your abused relationship. So you need that kind of group around you, as a church, as an organization, as a support arm, in order to help you be healed. Now, as a female, you need a husband that not only going to be looking at himself, even though we know husbands, love your wife, submit to your husband. But in this case, submission become a word that probably you're not going to be looking at, because if you say it unconditionally, because now you are in a situation, you are abnormal. You are finding your way to restoration. Your mind need to rest. And so the people that will come around you should be the people that will support you. as a survivor. If your spouse is a man that, well, he doesn't even carry you out, he doesn't even have time for the vision you have, probably he always doing his own thing, and you always by yourself, you can look sorrowful all the time. But remember, you came from abused marriage or relationship. So the process of recovery will take you a long time. Look, you can do all the therapies. You can have the best car. You can have the money. You can go to job. You're just pretending. That is the reality. So once you are coming from the situation of an abusive relationship, and you end up in another situation where the person, rather than not beating you, but they don't have unconditional love. A love that whether you were, well, insulting them because of what you were going through or what you went through, and the replicate of it, you don't want it to happen, they should know how to handle that situation within the period that you're going through. That's what happened to many female, and this end or just mental illness or something. At the end of the day, they can't come back to themselves. So your time of surviving or trying to survive after your abuse is a period that, if you can pray, yes, you pray, but then you act. It's not a time for passive-minded people. They will come around you. People who don't see you to be important. So, as we go about this time and talk about it, I want us to have more insight as we go to next week, Friday, our final campaign in this month. Let us begin to develop not only from the people that we partner with, but also develop the attitudes of counting other worthy, counting other important in our life. Why it is true that we are recovering. During the time of recovery, during the time of our survival, probably we left the place, we left the marriage, we left the relationship. Now we feel that, we have arrived, so we can just jump into any other relationship because, well, we got money. And we are lose, also we can't lose 2 times. So in that kind of situation, you need to take it very serious. You need to get to come back to your mind and think, well, even though I went through abuse, but I'm not just going to jump into this relationship because I see money or because I see that this person love me. They are showing me certain sign. Pray. Because you see, doing it after your abuse, and then if you're not, that will help you recover. You are going to remain in a desperate situation, and you become, they say, the guy is mentally ill. When you go for your checkup, they say, the guy is mentally ill. Maybe you got mental illness. Or the lady have a mental illness. Some people worried about certain situation, and the mind, the brain, they're too occupied, they're sick of accepting too much information, bad negative thoughts, worriness. So I just want to leave you right here and say to you that as we discuss this topic, as we talk about abuse, let us remember that it happens in every segment of life. And you are no exception. I want to congratulate those of us who will be listening, and I say to you, if you have a chance to call, I just probably you can call, or we can do that the next time. So the line is open. I know that when it comes to survival, many people have survived abuse, but they are still into another abuse because they choose what they felt at the time that will make them to be happy. Some people can say, the money can make me happy. That's a lie. They just say that. They just say that because, well, they found themselves into a situation. The reality is that even if the person got money, it would never be the only thing that will make you survive or to give you hope, a better future. So I want to say to all of us as a survivor, people who will survive a situation when it comes to domestic violence, abuse, or whatever thing you go through, these 6 things should be at the back of your mind because it will help you to recover soon. The standard you will set in our final step, number 7 step, you must have to focus and stand by the standard you set. Don't let nobody break your standard. Because it is when they break that standard, that means they are not serious. They only want to come in your life to make you more miserable. So stand by your standard. Okay? You get the first step, the safety first, stabilize environment, support unconditionally, share experiences, settle your accident, or starch wounds, set standards. So your support group must be a group that not only establish or form because, well, they just want plenty of members to come in, to join them so that they can have money. The other person is eating on Tuesday or after every Tuesday or maybe after every month. And that's why they join. No, it should be based on a kind of relationship that you want to build each other's life or by encouraging them. Okay, that is support group. A support group should be a church that prays for them, for you as a member of a church who are going through or who went through an abuse situation. A church that not full of gossip and lies. You can be in a church after your abuse and you are a survivor. And you go to that church, and that's what I find on many of the believers. By the time you enter in the church, they're looking at you from head to toe and they're laughing at you, some of the ladies who's supposed to be your support. So what happens if you are not strong? You start to lose confidence. And say, well, it seems to be that I'm not accepted in this church. Or probably the people here are not good. They don't love God. They don't love people. They talk about my relationship that I left. I thought it would encourage me. Sometimes if you're not careful, you develop another thing in that situation and you get so vexed. So look for a church, a Bible-believing church. Even if it's a group that they're praying, ask God to direct you. Because at this point, as a survivor, you need a support group. So when you don't have the right support group, maybe you only have a safe place, maybe you go into it, but the support group is not there. You don't get the story. Or probably you don't see them coming around you to pray with you, but they're only talking about you. So a survivor need a lot of support. One of the most important support a survivor will need as I close is if you're getting into another relationship, your intimate partner. So all the other support group, if they are not too strong to support you, if your partner is stronger than them, that means if that partner loves you unconditionally, it can cover all those other ones. You can decide to say, "Oh, I'm not going to that church, to that fellowship again. I will just stay home and pray, or probably I will find another church until I can find a Bible believing church." You come to yourself because somebody there to support you. Now you glue to your best friend. You guys pray together. Sometimes you say you want to, okay, let me take you to the, let me take you to probably to this place. Let's spend some time out there. I'm going to give excuse for my job for this week. It is a part of the healing process in the surviving stage. So that if the church were treating you wrong, if your friends who you thought would give you some support was not, or failed actually, but your intimate relationship, your husband to be or whoever, if that person is more stronger in their support for you, where no breeze is going to pass between two of you guys, there where you have your strength. And I advise that is the most crucial, important stage of your as a survivor. Because when every other person fails, that person becomes your safety net. He or she want to make sure that you're in the right place. So if other people forsake you, brother, sister, everybody around you fail, that person will never fail. Then of course you have a ground to stand on, because it is this person that is closer to you, and you guys working together. All the other people will go, even though you need them, but where they are not responding to you to help you in your healing process. And of course, the intimate relationship or the new relationship that you're getting into must be the person that will help you while you're going through your therapies. When you go into your therapies and this person is not is not a help to you, forget it. You can go through that therapy paying all this money for nothing. So you will pay that money, you come back again, you come into that house there. Probably the person is outside. You come home, you come for your therapy, the person, they slept off for 3 nights. When they come home, when you talk to them, they insult you. You're coming from an abused marriage. Now you are on a verbal abuse again. Or they comes home late. They don't even have time with you. They don't go to the supermarket with you. They don't drive with you. There's nothing they can do with you. Then you're in a desperate situation as a survivor. Your chance of recovering is very slim. It's going to take more longer than even the person who has this kind of opportunity. It could be 5 years or longer than that, because it's a kind of process. It's long-term effects. But depending on the people or the person you have by your side, you might recover in the time that you're not even expected. Or God intervention in your life could also be one of the speedy recovery, as He chooses to do, as His will. And so I want to encourage you. You can be, like a lot of people you can see on Facebook, all of us on Facebook, but you don't know what they're going through. Some of them trying to have some space to recover, so to make themselves happy. But stay. They need some want to confide into. They need someone to talk to, no matter what. Jesus is the person that you take to be your king, that you can confide to until you can find that person. So I want to say to all of us, those of us who are listening to the sound of my voice, as we go through this time of the campaign against domestic violence, I want to encourage you. We have probably our lane, we have our time, and as an abuse and survivor coach, I want you to understand something. That abuse is an experience. Go through it, but don't remain in it. Because you don't know who the next person or the next relationship you are getting into. You don't even know the intention. You don't know why they're coming into your life. So why? Set your standard. So I want to say you are welcome and thank God that we were able to conduct this at least as planned. And I want to say join us in our campaign, join us in motivating people out there. They need you, they need your support. And as we partner with the church here, trying to organize some things, we are going to be having a virtual meeting, but we're going to have an in-person meeting coming up. So please, let be realistic. People are going through terrible time in the world. To Liberians, when we speak about economic abuse and other things, it affects nations, Nigerians, and other nations. So if you are going through an abuse situation in your relationship, then of course you have an economic abuse. It can make it more terrible because you see, in a healing process as a survivor, we're going to be talking more about that, but in the healing process as a survivor, the reason why people don't realize how many people leave this world, because they are in an environment economically that is being abused. If you look at the West, there are a lot of different support groups. How many safety net or kind of referral we have in Liberia or in Africa or in some places that are really strong, supportive. That when somebody is abused and they leave that abusive relationship, they're trying to recover. You got to carry them back to a place in an environment that is not safe. So it's very difficult for people to recover because most of us, if not all of us, go back maybe in the West relationship because of the economic constraint, because no support group is there. So the support group is very important. Unconditional support group. If there is no intimate partner, which sometimes you set your standard that I'm not getting to nobody's life, but they have referral, we have different groups that support you, that pay your rent, that give you allowances. And that's what we want to see, especially in Liberia and other West African countries. The Community Engagement Global Mission is advocating for that for every nation. That is our vision. Because that is our right. Young people and older people are going through a time and a season to recover. It's a difficult situation in Africa. Although in the West, it's sometimes difficult because of the way the laws go, because some people go through their own problem. They can't get back to themselves because they have a lot on their minds. Somebody have wasted their time for the past years. Not all of us strong. Some people not strong. So we need to pray for them, yes. We need to pray for our brothers and sisters going through an abuse situation or marriage or whatever thing they are going through. But you will go through your situation. It is a shoe that you're wearing. Nobody wearing that shoe beside you. Only you can take off that shoe on your feet. So I want to thank God for this opportunity. I want to thank God for you. And don't forget that when you're in the abuse situation, you can get out of that situation. But when you are getting out of that situation as a survivor, know where you are going, your security, your safety, your environment, your support groups, the people you confide into, the people that come around, the way you think about the accident, the thing that happened to you, your financial standing, all that will help you in your time as you recover. So I want to thank you for turning in, those of us who turn in, and follow us as we continue to bring you message on this campaign. I want to encourage you, look in your community, see the indicators, see the mark on the faces of people, and you know they were abused. In the environment we find ourselves, especially in the West, it's not like in Africa where you can get intrude into people's relationship. So we are guided by these principles. How to share data, how to share information, how to get to XYZ. And when we find out that this person is going through a problem, not to intrude into somebody's relationship in their homes. So we are very careful and mindful about our advocacy, and it's very important. Maybe some of the abuses that go on, it could be from the woman, it could be from you too. Some of you guys love to be beaten by the man, and some of us choose a partner. We don't give God a chance to choose. So when we get into the abuse relationship, we still want to get into it because that is why we choose it. We make a choice. So I want to thank all of us, even though sometimes God gave a real partner and that partner tend to abuse. There are differences in how people respond to life, depending on the environment. If the environment is not conducive, it's already going through economic abuse, and that person probably no job, the husband have no job. He's a good guy. But because he doesn't have a job, you start to insult him, which probably you get vexed because, well, you are going through a trial, tribulation, you are pushing him to the wall. He doesn't have a job now, he turned to a beast. So sometimes you can take the beast out of a man instead of you taking the king out of him. Sometimes you can take a beast out of a woman instead of you taking the queen out of her. Why do I mean? It means the way we approach each other when they are going through their stress. The economic situation in Liberia is hard, difficult, right? And well, the person's not working, and every time they come soon, sometimes they can't even reach you. You start to insult them, fight them, blow them, slap them. Some of the women. When that person, when you start to take the beast out of the person, they become your abuser. But remember that it could be your husband. Not all the guys will think about that. Turn their back on some of the things. So sometimes we create something in our abuser. For our abuser to become so hostile and rebellious. Sometimes we men to take it from our wives. They start very wrong. We don't rebuke them and tell them, look, this is not, we don't stand our ground. The day the relationship break up. And then we're going to hastily looking for another one. That's how people have gone when they know their age they are aging. Now they want to make a decision and they fail. Then they start blaming themselves. If I had known I was not going to be hasty, I left from that marriage. It was abusive. Then I jumped into the one that was more abusive. Then you have mental illness. Inability to respond to life is very low acute, low extreme because of abuse. And so I want to say to you, you're welcome to the Community Engagement Global Mission. And I want to say that we we are an organization that express, teach human rights, and bring community together, discuss issues to find solution in the best interest of the people, give the people the right to make their decision, to determine the future. So tomorrow they will not be saying, well, they forced this person on us, or we didn't decide. So I want to thank God for this opportunity, and thank you guys for tuning in. Those who will listen to this sign, let us follow us as we raise awareness against domestic violence, and as we teach on human rights. Like, people don't understand. I'm going to be talking about what is formal politics and informal politics. You see, when people who have passion are not seeing society going the way it should go, when they speak, they will sound like a politician. So a politician is someone who promotes another leader and continue to promote. An advocate in the non-formal is a person who promotes the rights of people and talk about ills in society. So anyone that talking about ill in society, whether it was election, whether it was anything, that person will sound like a politician, because the other people, especially the masses, don't know the difference between informal politics and formal politics. I'm going to be talking more about that on Monday, so that people can get educated, because I see that there's too much ignorance and there are too much people up there who need to get the education. And nobody will call on the community leaders that, look, my man, the thing you're doing, you're supposed to build the people hand pump and you took the money. Or probably a government, well, we didn't feel good when this thing was going on election. We're going on. I don't think the election was fair, because some people had duplicate cards. At the election day, there were some places that the people went to vote. Probably people were not actually able to come out. The place was squeezed out. In the next 1 hour, only 2-3 persons were going in. So a lot of people didn't vote, or probably came out late. Before they got there, they closed the polling center. So when you begin to look, intimidation. So when you say that, it would sound like, well, this person preaching politics because of ignorance, because people don't understand from the point that a community leader or someone who is in the informal politics is speaking about the rights of people to vote, the rights of people to enjoy the amenities. So it can look so ugly when advocates are speaking, people who believe in the people. So I want to encourage you, those of us who probably want to learn, I think we need to just Google it and see the difference between politics and informal politics, formal politics and informal politics. So those of us who in the NGO, non-profit and different, we are in the informal politics area. We are activists, civil rights organizations. The Martin Luther King and the government were always after him because he was talking the right thing. He wanted justice. So people always think that when someone is talking about justice, rights of people, it means that they are against government. Two things we see in those people. We see that they are talking in favor of the government. They're trying to save government from certain things in the future. And they're also trying to protect the people that they talk about. So they will sound like politicians all the time. So people got to understand the difference between that and know that we need to raise up a lot of people who will understand, to raise their voice for the voiceless. So thank you, and probably follow us as we go through to get more education, to understand, so that we all can get in this together. One person cannot do it. All of us have the responsibility to do what we're supposed to do in order to change our society. Because tomorrow, society will hold us responsible. So join us in a week, especially the next week. We're going to be coming on at the 27th. on Friday. We're going to keep coming up live, and we have different guests who are going to be part of the show. The flyer is going to come out on Sunday night, and I want us to join us. Those of us who will be that people will join us. We'll bring them in. You're going to be on this side. It might not be on the Zoom because this one hold 10 person at once. So we might be hosting 3, 4, 5, 6. It depends on whatever we're going to come up to before next week. Okay, before the end of the week, probably before Sunday. So thank you. And I want to say thank you to all the partners, those collaborating with us, who believe in us. And I want to say, those of us who are listening and those of us who want to follow us, join us. Let's make the world a better place. Thank God for you guys. Until we see you again.